And welcome back, everybody. Who Popped Your Culture is live before your naked, steaming, spooky eyes. I'm Tommy, along with the great Chuck Mudorsky.
Howdy,
And
howdy,
we're
howdy.
back, mother lovers, to cover the collective favorite time of the year for Heels and Quads Media. It's Halloween, baby.
It's my favorite time of year.
Mine too. Levi's as well. We love it. Posted a short today. We've got something special a brewing that all three of us are going to be involved in. We've got a new t-shirt coming out, probably very soon after this is over with. And also, there's a little video announcement from Mooder
Old
about
Mudorsky.
his first ranking series that's coming up. Let's see. I finished Kiss. I've moved on to Motley Crue. I got to get another one of those out. We are up to 625 subscribers as of this recording live session.
Yes,
It's
nuts.
awesome. Love it.
I don't know what these people are thinking.
That little 13-second teaser I put out for what we've got coming for Halloween.
Mm-hmm.
6 subscribers.
That's absurd.
Off of that, like it's like a nothing. It's like a nothing little teaser. I mean, I love it. I worked really hard on it. I spent like 3 hours putting it together because I did all the sound effects, like piece by piece. The opening is just picture, and I put animation on it, and then it's a little 3-4 second clip of a video of a door opening into a white light. It's like, holy shit, man! I love it though. It's awesome. I love that people are finding us finally after all these years. It's awesome.
It's strange. It's great. It's strange.
Love it. And of course, let's get this rolling here. Sign up for the Patreon. You can go to our website and find all of our links at tubespace.io/Heels and Quads Media. Closer and closer, that will just be heelsandquads.com or heelsandquadsmedia.com, whichever I decide to buy. I haven't decided. Maybe I'll buy both. Who knows? But sign up for the Patreon. Patreon just got rebooted. The tiers the names have stayed the same, but the players have changed. So the $1 tier, Thunder Island, you get exclusive access to, there's a chat on Patreon. That's what you get for the $1 tier. And then as we start getting some people rolling in, we'll have, I'll start posting videos, probably most likely unedited, to an extent, because I say some really shitty things when I get mad at myself, but somewhat unedited, and you'll get it early. But that's when people really start rolling in. Right now, everybody on the Patreon's kind of like family at this point, so they're like, we don't care about the videos, we just want to hang out. So sign up for Patreon, hang out. Every week I do one at the end of the month. Myself and Levi and Mood are usually Mood is usually there now that he's a day person.
Rejoin the land of the living.
Yeah. But then also the $3 tier, close personal friend. It's the one with the picture of Mean Gene Okerlund of WWF fame and WCW. And then also the $5 tier, That's What Friends Are For, with the single 45 cover as the picture. Those two, you get everything from the $1 tier. So you get obviously you get your name scrolling on the bottom of the lives. I try to remember every time to put the picture at the end with everybody's name on it. I'm kind of bad at it, but I'm getting to where I've got it kind of down to a science somewhat. And the $3 and $5 tier, you obviously, like I said, you get the Discord that Muda has perfected at this point, and I'm still learning. But so when you sign up for the Patreon, those 2 tiers, it'll automatically ask you if you want to join the Discord.
I almost feel like we should call one of the Discord tiers Olive Garden. Because when you're here, you're family.
When you're here, you're family. I like that for the $5 tier, actually.
Yeah. I mean, it's just mostly just due to the fact that it's, like you said, like everybody there. We've been we've been together for a long time. We fight, we make up, mostly.
Yeah, I think. A couple of people I've had fights with. Not everybody. Most of the time, playful, joking around, but there's been a couple.
That's how it goes. That's how it goes.
Happens when you give your phone number away.
No more of that.
That will not be happening anymore. That is an exclusive to the original OG.
That is what the Discord is for.
Yes.
If you join up, you have any issues, you can always hit us up in there, and we'll get to it in as timely a fashion as we are able.
If it's something I can't fix myself, it will be passed along to Muda. But
I'm delegation.
Like even today, I was trying to set up the Patreon to automatically send people to the Discord, and I'm like, "Hey, how do I do this?" And then 2 minutes later, I'm like, "Oh, never mind." It's like I gotta quit asking questions before I even try to figure it out myself.
Yeah, it is what it is. It's a nice little thing. It's a nice little we are certainly not the pioneers of including Discords in building communities and stuff like that. As much as I hate that word, but it is is what it is. Like I said,
yeah.
Well, hop on over, join the Patreon. Yeah. Hop on over.
Hell yeah, man. And go to mudamerch.com. Like I said, there'll be a new design. It's no surprise. It's the quote unquote Misfits inspired design. It's the picture for Heels and Quads pretty much everywhere at this point. Mm-hmm. I know I changed Instagram, I changed Facebook, I changed our TikTok, which, hey, if you got TikTok, go to our website and find our TikTok and watch and like it over there, because that place is stinking it up right now. Our page, anyways. I'm not the biggest TikTok guy, but if I'm gonna watch reels or something, I just Instagram or YouTube Shorts. Shout out to YouTube Shorts. That's like family to me, because that's where everybody's finding us. Also, if you have a beard like us and Levi as well, go to copperjohnsbeard.com, use code Heels and Quads in all caps, because we're professional businessmen, and save 15% on your order. They've got everything you need beard-wise and more. Shampoo, conditioner, soap, soap dish, combs, wax, balm, oil. You name it, they got it. And they've also got, merch too. So copperjohnsbeard.com. Check it out. It's awesome. Subscription service, copperjohnsbeard.com. Do that. Okay, so let's get into it. I wanted to kind of start maybe because full transparency here. We actually did a Halloween episode last year. However, when we tried to go live on YouTube, it told us we had to wait 24 hours. Well, we had already scheduled it. We had already announced it. We had already, promoted it as that date. So didn't work for us, brother. So we did it exclusively on Twitch, which not also kind of our platform. Our platform is YouTube and Facebook. We get a little bit on Facebook. But so this is kind of like a retelling for us. I mean, I don't remember anything really said, but I know my list has changed since then.
So is mine.
I'm
pretty sure everything that was on my list last year is on this list, but it's in mostly a different location.
Like a different order? Yeah.
Yeah.
I know I want to say at least probably my top 5 is somewhat the same, but I know what we're going to talk about today is different. Right. But I wanted to talk about favorite Halloween memories before we get into our ranking. Well, okay, let's start here. Your top 3 favorite Halloween costumes you ever did from baby to now. Top 3.
Well, I'm just going to throw it right at the end because I'm kind of ashamed of it. But considering the time that I grew up in, it was a very popular costume, and I was a fucking wussbag goth punk weird guy in high school. So number 3 with a bullet, and by bullet I mean it is firmly there. It shouldn't even be on this list because I'm so ashamed. I did The Crow.
I think there was a lot of those.
There was a lot of it. There's still a lot of those.
Yeah.
It is probably the number 1 goth costume on the planet at this point. It's super easy. I mean, all I had to do was do the face paint.
You could Crow Sting.
Yeah, I didn't have to change anything else about like the way that I dressed. I was already there. I just had to add the face paint, and I had a girl do it, so they were better at it because they were better at it than I was. But yeah, that was easily number 3 for me.
Yeah. My number 3 would be Hollywood Hogan at the height of NWO. My mom worked her ass off to make this costume happen because back then it was like you could get like the bandana and stuff, but also I didn't have it yet. The only thing I had like available was because I went to a WCW show, and I bought the Tearaway Hollywood Rules when he's, the airbrush looking thing, but she made me a bandana, put the lightning bolts on it, said Hollywood on it. But under that, she took a white sweatband and had sewn in like yellow yarn to make the skullet.
Oh, geez.
Yeah. So then she made me a blonde Fu Manchu to match with the yarn. I mean, I wish I had pictures because she did a great job. And then we just colored in like black for the black beard, and then I had the Fu Manchu. But yeah, and then I had the pants, and those had lightning bolts down the side, black jeans. And we just like kind of colored it to make it look like that. It was awesome though. And then I had like black boots. But yeah, I loved, that was one of my favorites. And I wish I had like pictures or something of that, but I don't.
Yeah, I too was really bad about those kind of things.
Yeah. I still to this day hate taking pictures, by the way.
Hello to Ashley. Thank you for watching.
Why aren't you watching on YouTube? Just kidding. Watch wherever you want.
Watch out. Tommy's getting a little big for his britches over here.
I'm not getting big for my britches.
He's letting all these new followers go to his head.
No.
But he should, because the follower uptick is I will say 99.9% due to the work that you have been putting in. If you'll allow me to verbally fillet you there for a little while. Yeah. All right. So my number 2. All right. So it was mentioned. It's been mentioned in the Horror Isles. It was mentioned in the Rob Zombie preview video today. I worked at a haunt for a long time. So most of my Halloweens during the important Halloween time of my life was spent working there, whether it was Monday through Friday. It didn't matter. Most haunts only run Friday through Sunday, but if it's the Halloween, we always open. So I was there a lot. There was one year where we ran a Midway. So this costume is not a character, although it had bore a lot of resemblances to existing characters. We ran a Midway with like cheesy, almost impossible to win carnival games. I found the most hideous plaid sport coat that was about 2 sizes too small for me in the costume trailer. And I threw on it was the most slapdash makeup job I think I ever did on myself at that haunt. We named the guy Texas Pete because on top of the hideous plaid sport coat, we also had one of the big foam cowboy hats.
Oh, hell yeah, dude.
So I had the makeup job kind of resembled like a decrepit Captain Spaulding It was just
Yeah.
black and gray, and it was entirely accidental. I think I started with one thing, and then by the time it was over, it resembled nothing, or it didn't resemble anything that I was going for. But I affected the most offensive Southern accent one could affect, and I waddled a lot, so that way the cowboy hat would
sway.
wobble. Yeah, as I would approach people. That one was definitely that I'm proud of that one because that was there was no role for me when I got there because you got to show up at a certain amount at a certain time in order to get placed in throughout the haunt, and I showed up late, so there was nothing. And yeah, they're like, all right, just do something. So I found the coat, found the hat, did the makeup, and then instead of just walking around, I just harassed people at the Midway. And it was it was a very fun Halloween for me.
Have fun, Ashley. Oh yeah, man.
Enjoy yourself. Thank you for popping in.
On a side note to what you said, so when I was like 13 to 16, like my favorite and still probably my favorite comedy, honestly, of all time is Dumb and Dumber. I was obsessed with finding a big foam cowboy hat. Mm-hmm. The only one I ever owned, I actually bought, was at Dorney Park in Pennsylvania.
Okay.
And it was like, just, had the star, like the sheriff big foam cowboy hat. But man, I wish I still had that thing. But I think it got tore up by a dog or something. Or somebody stole it. That's usually what happened.
They're hard to store.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like it didn't last until the next year. I wanted to bring back Texas Pete, even though the Midway was gone. I wanted to bring him back because the crowd loved him, and so did my fellow haunters. Just because it is a much needed levity on a long 6-7 hour night in a.
Did
New
you
York.
have like chaps?
No.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say you look like Texas Pete, the hot sauce bottle guy.
Yeah, I was probably I was probably just wearing like Dickies and shit. Like that was my standard garb back then anyway. But it was it was just those were the fun nights. Those were the beautiful memories that I have from working at that haunt.
Yeah. So
what's your
number two would be anytime I dressed up as Paul Stanley. And I did that probably, I don't know, from the time I was like 15 or 16 until recently. Mm-hmm. Like usually, traditionally, if I have to throw a costume together, because every year we say we're not gonna dress up, and the kids usually talk me into it. But since I've had a beard, it's a little harder to do because I don't like to shave it.
Yes.
Because I don't like to be naked. Because, Halloween's great. Yeah, it's my favorite time of year. But, I
understand.
Do I really want to be beardless for like a week or two?
I saw it. Listen. Yeah. You're a good-looking guy. I'm not going to lie to you. But it's very weird. And when you had your little shaving mishap last year, it was very strange. Bad. And,
that was terrible. I didn't like it.
But you gotta go through it with the beard.
Yeah.
It doesn't look right. No.
When I take on a Kiss persona, I want to be true. You know what I mean?
I understand. So, I know exactly what you mean. Yeah. But it's I refuse. It very seriously. I refuse to shave for a Halloween costume.
Yeah. Me and 3 of my friends, it was close to Halloween because it was always in September, but every year at the fair we would put Kiss makeup on and go to the fair that way. Though the words that I was called was probably the first time I was ever called those words. So
I believe it. Some gamer words, I'm sure.
Oh yeah, big time.
Did you have the deep swoop bodysuit?
No, I never had that, but I always wore probably just a black tank top or something. Cause I got the chest wool, that's for sure.
Sure.
I got the chest pubes. So,
all I can say is if you keep it up, brother, if you keep up on you keep losing them LBs, you might be ready for a
I might have to
legitimate
get one.
Paul Stanley costume. You might have to.
Oh yeah, people. Yeah, eventually it'll happen.
Yeah, you're well on your way. You're good to go.
Yeah.
It's gonna happen.
What is your favorite costume ever?
My favorite costume. You're scaring us, Ashley. Also, thanks for watching on YouTube.
Yeah, thank you.
My favorite costume is it's another Haunt character who's actually making something of a resurgence this year.
Okay.
During one of the milestone anniversary years, it was like, I think it was the first big one. It was like 25. I think it was the 25th anniversary of this Haunt. They did more or less a best of year where they took more or less the favorite scenes, the favorite scares, jump scares, and all that, and they just kind of made it was the greatest hits album of a haunted house.
Greatest hits?
Yeah. If only. I
Greatest
heard stories. I heard stories that happened every once in a while, but not often. But anyway,
greatest hits.
So the final room in this particular house setup was a mad scientist laboratory, and he was I don't even remember the exact terminology. It was ridiculous, but he was a scare scientist. He studied scares. So it was an amalgamation of all of the cheapest gimmicks that we used in the Haunt. But I had this wig that it was, now the funny thing is now I could grow my hair out and I could mimic the wig perfectly as long as I dyed it white and teased it. But it had this big like Beetlejuice 5 head.
Yeah.
And it was massive.
Yeah. Like Albert Einstein with a skullet.
Kinda, yeah.
Yeah.
But it was just this. It was madness. Again, as far as character goes, usually that's the thing. If I can't actually mimic the character that I'm portraying for Halloween, I don't usually go for it because it's an all-in thing for me. Probably due to the fact that I spent over a decade at the Haunt. His name was Boris Forrester. He had every speech impediment in the book, minus a stutter. The voice was, it was like Judge Doom from Roger Rabbit.
Okay.
With a super thick lisp and the inability to pronounce L's and R's.
Can you give us a little bit of it?
Let's see. On the spot. All right, I got to get away from the mic for this because it's going to be loud.
Okay.
And I would do that all night long. It was annoying to everybody, but it was another one where the hair moved when I waddled.
Yeah.
So when I had to pull out the chainsaw at the end to chase everybody out of the room, I would do it in a waddle, so that way that the hair would just sway. So every time they look back, they hear the chainsaw.
The chainsaw.
That's the beauty of the chainsaw. You go to any Haunt, the chainsaw works every time.
Oh, yeah.
So they hear the chainsaw, they want to run, they look back, and all they see is this fucking maniac with hair wobbling back and forth. That was my favorite Halloween, I think.
I think chainsaw to me is probably the ultimate Halloween horror weapon.
It is. I mean,
obviously you got a butcher's knife or whatever, but chainsaw is just so Halloween.
Right, because it's like a chainsaw in flesh.
Right.
Is nasty.
Yeah.
Because it's meant to cut wood, so it's dirty. And then it's loud.
Yeah.
There's no, even if you see that there's no blade on the chainsaw, it doesn't matter.
The sound will still get you.
Yep, every time.
Yep.
Every time.
So my number one, this would be 2008, I believe.
All
I think it
right.
was, yeah, I think, yeah, yeah. Um, so this year there was a very popular costume. However, uh, there was another version of this character that I still to this day think is better,
Mm-hmm.
even though people will greatly agree or disagree with my sentiment. And that was Heath Ledger's Joker was the big costume. So
Right.
I went as Jack Nicholson's Joker.
Ah.
I mean, we had it's not there anymore, but we had this place in our town called Parties Plus. So you could rent costumes, you could buy costumes, and they've since went out of business. And I wish I would have bought this costume because I mean, it was legit. It
Mm-hmm.
was the most legit costume I ever wore for Halloween because it looked like it could
Like
have been screen used.
double-breasted purple suit and all that.
Yeah. I
All
mean,
right.
with the flannel pants, I mean, it was perfection, and it fit me like a glove, which is weird because of how short I am. But so I bought the putty to make the permagrin
Mm-hmm.
like Jack had, and I couldn't get it to stay on. I don't know why. I followed the instructions that I found online because I was really big into Batman 89 at the time
Sure.
and still am, obviously. Yeah,
Who,
go back and
who,
watch the
who was
Batman episode,
who is
somebody. um, but I mean, it was perfect, and I did the makeup. It was awesome. I colored my hair green for it. I had it slicked back like Jack. I mean, it was great even without the putty because I can smile that big and kind of hold it. So,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, that I think that was the best costume. And I believe because the bar that we went to back then, it's still around, but it's changed names like 40 times since then.
Mm-hmm.
The bar I went to always has like the Halloween costume contest, and winner gets a couple $100 or whatever. I lost to a sexy cat.
Of course you did.
I was like, nobody likes the Joker on this stripper pole. Come on, man. But yeah, so and there was a really good Beetlejuice that year too, which I would have been more than happy to have lost to him because it's in that same vein, Tim Burton and Michael
Yeah.
Keaton, and yeah. But yeah, so also like any Halloween memories that might not involve a costume necessarily, like any big old stories. I don't really have any because I mean, when I was a kid, I trick or treated, and then when I was an adult, I just went out and got hammered. So I never. I mean, you had like a cool like experience where you worked the haunt and stuff. Like I never was into that. I don't like ghosts and shit, and
Yeah.
quite honestly, I really don't like getting scared. It kind of pisses me off.
Oh no, it
So
definitely pisses me off.
yeah,
But at this point, I have an appreciation
yeah,
for the art of the scare to the
sure,
point
yeah,
where
yeah,
if somebody actually is able to get me to jump out of my shoes for a
yeah.
second, it's kind of like, good job, you got
Yeah.
me.
There's some
Like they
videos of
don't
my
know my
wife on
history.
Facebook getting jump scared, and it's hilarious.
I haven't actually been to a haunt in quite some time now, but that was I remember walking into it like very like anxious,
Hmm.
thinking that I lost my edge.
Yeah,
And then I walked through it, and I mean it's like watching a horror movie
yeah,
because you model a haunt after a horror movie, and that's where that's the art of the scare, is figuring out how like to not be where they expect you to be, and then except for when they don't expect you to be where they expect you to be, if if that makes any sense. Um,
And by
but
the
yeah,
way, real quick before you continue, if you're watching this live or you're watching this later on, feel free to chime in the comments and give us your favorite costumes you've ever worn, favorite costumes you've ever seen, Halloween memories. Also, when we get started on our list, feel free to give us yours. So, all right, go
indeed.
ahead. Sorry. I just wanted to say that before I forgot.
No, that's it's a good thing to
And
say
subscribe,
because
like,
yeah,
comment.
we would like to have the conversation with all of you.
Yes. Yeah. I
And
comment to every single comment.
whether you
For now.
should or not, whether you should or not. um,
Keep it in that A word, you know?
yeah. But it was yeah, it was when I was walking through that haunt, it was a nice walk down memory lane and all that. And then I remember when we knew that there was a chainsaw, because if you're waiting in line, there's no way to not know that there's a chainsaw coming. And the wife, she just booked ass. She
Yeah.
knows it's fake. She worked at the haunt with me for a weekend. She knows it's fake, but it gets her every time. And yeah, she just took right the hell off. And that was well worth the price of admission, because I got a good chuckle out of it.
When it's not you and it's your significant other, it's
Yeah.
okay. You
Yeah.
know? I mean, you make sure like they're not gonna have like a heart attack or anything, but you know.
But yeah, as far as
seeing them scared is pretty funny.
I think most of my Halloween memories, the really good ones, they all generally tend to revolve around the haunt. And
Yeah.
at which point I can't remember if it's actually on Halloween or not.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it really didn't matter. I have one memory that I wanted to share because I shared it last year, but nobody got to see it. So now we have a few people watching, and we'll have people watching later, of course, as the month progresses. And we've got a part 2, because this is only half of our list, because it's going to be so long, especially when we get to the top 5. We'll probably go pretty deep into that. Because like 10 through 6 for me are like kind of like not necessarily thrown on there. I actually like these movies, but it's like 5 to 1 are where it's at. So anyways, memory. It wasn't Halloween. Child's Play had just come out, and you might know this story already. I'm sure you remember it. So there was a video store that we frequented every week. It was like a little mom and pop place. But we would go in. I'd get traditionally Follow That Bird or Mac and Me or something to that extent. And so we went in, and they had just got, I guess, the VHS for Child's Play. It might have been Child's Play 2. I'm not sure which one. I'm going to say it was Child's Play 2, because that means I would have had seen him already. But they had a doll hanging above the register. And I flipped the fuck out. My mom loves to tell this story. She's probably watching, honestly. But she loves to tell the story because I freaked out, like screamed, crying, ran outside of the video store. She said I'm in the parking lot shaking. Like, I remember a lot of being a kid, but I don't remember that. I remember seeing the doll. I don't remember running out and sitting in the parking lot and like rocking back and forth and trembling because I was so afraid of that doll. And I mean, because it wasn't hard to replicate, a Chucky doll back then. And now they're even worse. All I'm saying is fuck that doll. That's what I'm saying. I don't think I've ever been that terrified in my life. If what she said happened is actually what happened. I mean, I believe her. She's my mom. She's not going to lie to me about that. She might try to embellish a little bit and embarrass me in front of people, especially like either girls I was dating at the time or now my wife. But, I've got some stories about her too that I like to pull out of the hat every once in a while. Embarrass the shit out of her. Yes, this is a true story, she says. She is in the chat. Thanks, Mom.
Mama Walter.
All right. Shall we start then?
Yeah, let's go.
All right. Do you want to start with 10 or do you want to... I have 2 honorable mentions. I want to give one tonight and then I'll save one for next time.
Okay. I do not have any honorable mentions because it would be... It was hard enough to come up with a top 10.
Mentions. All right. No honorable mentions. This is the creme de la creme. This is the cream of the crop.
Indeed.
All right. So you want me to start?
Start.
You start. Okay.
I'll start. So I had a cool uncle, and he showed me Return of the Living Dead.
I remember this on your list last year now.
Right. Well, there is, we're not talking about Return of the Living Dead yet.
Oh, okay.
So he shows me Return of the Living Dead. We get to the point, and he's in his 20s at the time. He's just like, this movie's hilarious. You'll love it. We get to the point where they smack the side of the canister, and the tar man melts. It scared the absolute bejesus out of me. And I was terrified at the concept of zombies from that point forward. Fast forward, felt like an eternity, but it was one of my first sleepovers with friends in a new school. It was when I made friends with all the freaks. We watched.
Shout out to the freaks.
We watched Tom Savini's Night of the Living Dead remake.
And
is
this what we're talking about, or are we talking about something?
We are talking about Tom Savini's Night of the Living Dead remake, 1990. Tom Savini, the guy who brought us the wonderful special effects in Dawn of the Dead,
Everything.
fucking Friday the 13th. He's the guy who designed.
He's got a fucking school now, man.
He does. I actually have a friend who we talked about it briefly on Heels and Quads. Friend of mine from The Haunt went to the Tom Savini school, and she wound up as I don't know if she was the lead or whatever, but she was on the FX department for Return to Nukem High.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Tom Savini school. I mean, is there anybody else that you want to learn special effects makeup from? Maybe like Rick Baker and Stan Winston, those guys, but I mean, Tom Savini's the guy. If you want gore, Tom Savini's the guy. Yeah. So what he did with the Night of the Living Dead movie, if there was ever a better instance of updating a movie for modern audiences and stuff like that, he gave the story a little bit more, like it was more finished. Like you weren't expecting a sequel to Tom Savini's Night of the Living Dead.
Yeah.
It had a perfect beginning, middle, end. Barbara wasn't insufferable like she is in George Romero's.
Which was going to be one of my honorable mentions, by the way. It was in the list originally, but it got bumped.
It deserves to be in somebody's list.
Yeah.
I've seen it so many times that it's almost like I love this movie. I love what it gave us.
It's fun. It's an easy watch.
And it's a great movie as well. Yeah. Like what he did with what he had and all that. Right. Fantastic. Tom Savini's I love Tony Todd. I love Tony Todd as Ben. I mean, it's Tony Todd. How can you argue with that? I don't know her name, but the lady who played Barbara, like she does the innocent who is just like smacked in the face with the apocalypse and then changes. Obviously the special effects makeups in it they're all fantastic. I like the gruesome zombies. A lot of good zombie kills. I mean, a lot of good living human people kills and all that stuff.
Yeah.
I love the fact also that it is still it maintains a lot of the small town feel, largely due to the fact that it was actually like they brought in people from where they shot it. And I think they shot it somewhere in Pennsylvania. So I'm pretty sure.
We looked it up last year. I remember because I was like, the mall is still there, and like people go there.
Yeah, Monroeville, Monroeville. But like I'm pretty sure Savini shot it in the Pittsburgh area. I think he's from the Pittsburgh area.
Yeah.
So it's like it's all perfect. For some reason.
Ashley would probably know, but she's not watching now. But
right, but yeah,
she would know the answer to that.
Pittsburgh, for some reason, is a it's a horror movie mecca. But yeah, Tom Savini's Night of the Living Dead, I love it. I like it. It's one of those movies I cannot nitpick. Like every time I watch it, like there's nothing wrong with it. But it's also a remake, so it doesn't belong. Well, Actually, that's a lie because there's technically a remake in my top five. I was gonna say it's a remake, so it doesn't belong in the top
I
five.
think there's technically a remake in my top 5 too.
That's fine, and I'm pretty sure I know what that remake is. Because it's probably the same one as mine.
Probably is. So my number 10, I wanted to throw on here because I felt like this. Okay, so I messaged Buddha and said, my list is done. I'm a franchise whore. I can't help it. I try to limit myself when I make top 10 lists to not like include like several of one thing. But when it comes to this kind of thing, it's like my favorite's my favorite, and I'm sorry, I'm not gonna
Sure.
apologize for it, even though I
Go
just
for
kind of
it.
did.
Go
But
to
like,
town,
because
brother.
if it was up to me, it would be like, okay, how many Halloween movies are there? And let's just take out Rob Zombies and throw in a couple Two Tree Freddies, you know.
Mhm.
But I'm not gonna do that because that's not fair. And also, Levi and myself are eventually gonna cover this franchise that I'm talking about right now. And
Mhm.
that's Friday the 13th because we've been putting that off for 2 years and we're finally going to get it done. Hopefully. I've got to watch all these freaking movies again. And like the first one, like I love the story of it, obviously, but like when you think of Friday the 13th, you think of Jason Voorhees hockey mask. You don't think of Jason Voorhees elephant boy coming out of the water and pulling somebody
Correct.
out of a boat. My mom says Judith O'Day played Barbara. Was that the original or the remake? Ma. The remake was 1990. Is my mom or Jamie? Pull it up, Jamie. Pull it up, Paula.
Pull it up, Mom.
Anyway, so my Friday the 13th movie, it's my favorite. It's ridiculous. I know people will probably file out of the theater where they're watching this right now because it's a ridiculous fucking choice, but I love it. Friday the 13th 8, Jason Takes Manhattan. It's so ridiculous. It's funny because it's dumb.
Mhm.
It's a dumb premise, but it's such a dumb premise it makes me love it. And that's what I like about horror is like the the stupidity. Like why would this happen? Like explain to me why this happens.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? And the scene where he takes the mask off and scares the boombox guys, that's forever like one of my favorite parts of any horror movie because I just think it's funny.
It would require some research, but I'm inclined to believe that Jason Takes Manhattan is the first
Stupid.
time is the first time where the monster leaves.
Yeah, they're like surrounding.
Right.
Because I mean,
So
Michael leaves Haddonfield, but he's in the the loony bin.
he leaves Haddonfield for the loony bin, which is adjacent to Haddonfield.
Right.
It's within
Haddonfield.
within a night's drive of Haddonfield. But as far as like the regarding like Leprechaun in the Hood,
Leprechaun in space.
Well, Leprechaun in
Jason
space, Jason in space, like all that. It would require some research, and I don't know off the top of my head, but it seems to me
I want to say like a big time franchise.
Because that was what,
villain.
88, 89?
Yeah, it was late 80s because it was the one before Jason Goes to Hell, and I know that came out in the 90s because I remember
it was like
me and
92,
my
I
sister
think.
saw that in the theater.
And if I'm not mistaken, most of the Friday movies, it was like one a year.
Yeah. Or every other year, maybe, but yeah, pretty close, probably.
Like, I'm pretty sure it was one a year because it was either 88 or 89, and that's when 8 came out, and then it was that was the end of it. Probably because it was so corny.
1 came out in 80.
It did.
Yeah, you're probably spot on. Yeah.
For a very long time, Jason was my guy. He was my horror guy. Well, all my friends, they like Freddy, they like Michael Myers. I was a Jason guy just because it was not them.
I will add that none of the recent of any of those franchises will make the list. Sorry to those who, and not that we talked about this ad nauseum last year. I wish that show was still out there, but like the newer Halloween movies, Did I like some of it? Yes. Are they great? No. Is
If we have time, and I'm not promising anything here, if we have time, we should get together and do a quick stream on how we feel about the return to Haddonfield.
Yeah, because Levi has some strong opinions on that as well.
I have some very strong opinions.
Yeah. And on first view, I'm going to say this and then I'm going to move on. At first viewing, I loved it, except for the last one. The last one to me can kick a fucking gigantic boulder rock. It stinks. I don't like it. They could have done the same thing and made it a lot better, but the way they did it and released it stinks. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah.
All right. Moving on. Jason Takes Manhattan. Half of it's on a fucking boat. More than half of it's on a boat. And then he's walking the street for like 10 minutes and that's all anybody remembers and it's fun. Except for the scene on the boat with the mirrors and shit. That was pretty cool.
My final statement on Jason Takes Manhattan is the logistics of getting like a riverboat cruise ship onto Crystal Lake. Like, yes, all lakes are fed by rivers.
Right.
But usually it is a much smaller, more like a stream that goes from a river to a lake. And there has never been any indication that Camp Crystal or Crystal Lake feeds into or is fed by a river or feeds into a river. I don't remember my earth science. That there's any possibility for a small like river cruise boat to go from one to the other, and that's of all the things, of all the ridiculous things in Jason Takes Manhattan, that is 100% the one thing that bothers me the most.
Patricia Tallman is the remake Barbara.
Oh, okay, yeah, and
I had to look it up. It was driving me crazy,
and she's great.
Thank you, Mom, for going through the trouble to try to find it. I appreciate it.
Thank you, young Paula, for being our young Jamie.
She's gonna really love you. By the way, Levi checked out your band. He said, "Awesome."
Oh, well, that's just weird. I feel like he's got horrible taste.
He said, "No way, awesome, thanks." To quote Leviticus, Future Papa. For those of you who missed our last show, Levi is pregnant, and it's not mine. But if it's a girl, he'll name it Junior. If it's a boy, he'll name him Junior.
That would be wonderful.
Where we at? You're number 9.
Oh yeah, we're taking our sweet time through here.
Yeah, because we're already closing in on an hour.
It's fine. It's fine. It's a Saturday night.
I'm hungry.
Yeah, well, that was your fault.
Yeah.
So my number 9.
Excuse me for being fat.
You're not fat anymore.
Anymore. And I'm tired of pretending I'm not a lard ass anymore.
My number 9 is a piece of artwork from a guy.
Say a piece of ass. I'm like, I've never seen that film that I know of.
It's from a guy who will feature heavily between the both of us, but definitely just on my own top 10.
John Carpenter.
Correct. With The Prince of Darkness.
Ooh.
One of his more obscure. And I'm a John Carpenter simp.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll say it, and I own it, and I love it.
Say it louder for the people in the back, as the kids say.
I'm prouder of that simpery than I am of any other simpery. I guarantee it.
I gotta get that John Carpenter anthology that they just put out on vinyl. Ugh.
Yeah. John Carpenter, not only is he a fantastic musician, but he was and is the most underrated filmmaker who is still living.
And he rips darts, dude.
This guy,
Rips.
like, I feel like there has never been more just like master classes of cinema that have bombed at the box office than with John Carpenter. And Prince of Darkness is no different. It is a weird concept, melding science and religion, and getting this weird collection of grad students together, theologists and actual like physicists and stuff like that, to go and study this weird vial of green goo in a basement. Spoiler alert. That happens to just be like the essence of evil. And then scored by John Carpenter. So you got that, like, you've just got a feeling of unease the whole time. It's got Donald Pleasance. I'll never remember the man's name. Love him though we do. Egg Foo Young.
Oh,
in Big Trouble.
Yeah. God dang it. It's right there. I know it. He's in like 187 movies.
Yeah, and most of them are John Carpenter movies.
John Wong?
It's possible. Oh, wait. We have this thing called the internet.
Oh, yeah.
But anyway, it's your typical John Carpenter production. So like the makeup effects aren't the best.
It's got Donald Pleasance in it, damn it.
It does have Donald Pleasance. He plays the priest. What's his name? Yeah, Victor Wong.
Victor Wong.
Victor Wong.
It's John Victor. It's the same damn name,
right? But it's just it's a cool concept. Nobody understood it. I still feel like nobody understood. Young Paula coming in the clutch from Facebook.
Damn it, Paula.
Thank you, Paula. It is a fantastic movie. It's got Alice Cooper in it. He plays a vagrant whose weapon of choice is half a bicycle, who's always listening to trash. Once he's zombified and he's got his headphones still on, still playing, if you listen closely, you'll hear Alice Cooper's trash record, as it was new at the time. And Alice Cooper, a big fan of horror, no surprise. It's fantastic. It's a wonderful movie.
One look could kill my pain.
Your thrill.
God, I love that. So many other good songs on there too, by the way. But Desmond Child really hooked the coop up with some freaking hits, buddy. Was that all? Sorry.
Yeah, that's Cooper it. Prince of Darkness, number 9. I feel like it probably should be higher, but at the same time, no.
Okay. My number 9. This is first of 3 entries from this franchise, and it is Nightmare on Elm Street 4, The Dream Master, not the Dream Child. That stinks. Not Freddy's Dead. That stinks even harder. This is the follow-up to Dream Warriors, which is the beginning of quote-unquote MTV Freddy.
Correct.
And it follows up 3. It's the same surviving characters, minus the great Patty Arquette, who was replaced because she didn't want to do it, which understand. She, did her own thing. But
very confusing for me.
It still just kind of grinds my gears because I love Patricia Arquette and she was fantastic in Dream Warriors.
Correct.
And shout out to Dawkins because that song rules, Dream Warriors. But this one, you get the beach scene. Freddy puts on the glasses. Everybody uses that gif now because they think it's cool. Watch the movie because it's actually really good. The scene where they're in the Craven
Yep.
And Freddy's got the pizza, and she sees Alice as old Alice, and she's sitting there, and he's got the pizza, and he uses his to get the meatball out of the pizza.
Yep.
And it's like this, I guess, the soul meatballs.
Soul food.
But it's funny because when I was like visiting this today, just kind of reading, the scene that bothers me the most is actually Robert Englund's favorite scene in the whole franchise, when they do the loop.
Mm-hmm.
And they get in the truck and they drive to the house, and then they get out of the truck, and then it takes them back to the Craven, and they're coming out, and they're like, haven't we done this? And they figure out that it's like a space-time continuum thing that Freddy's got them in, and it drives me absolutely batshit crazy every time I watch it, because I'm like, just move on already. Like, do it like 4 times. We got the point. And then it obviously goes to like him, he's on the gurney in the hospital and shit, but like, it drives me absolutely bonkos, dude. Like, holy shit, how many times are you gonna? But I mean, at that point, Freddy Krueger was a household name.
Oh yeah.
So I mean,
he'd already had his doll made.
Yeah. Oh, dude. The year before we did Nightmare, I tried to find one on eBay, and the freaking prices were astronomical. So if anybody wants to send me a Freddy doll,
yeah, one of my buddies from high school, his mother bought it for him.
Yeah,
when he was
I had
a
the
kid.
Pee-wee doll, man, and the Urkel doll.
Yeah,
I didn't get the Freddy doll.
She thought it was hilarious.
Then I would not watch that shit. Then I thought Freddy was terrifying.
Right, as so did she, and she thought it was a hilarious idea to give as a gift to her son when he was a small child. I
wonder how many people's grandmas gave them that as a gift.
and at the same time, like, how do you look at this thing, this grotesquerie, and think like, oh yeah, that'll be good. It's got a pull string. Yeah. It's got a pull string and it talks. It'll be fine for a child. Things. Yeah. I love Dream Master. It's
underrated, dude, for sure.
It's underrated. It's certainly one of my guilty pleasures when it comes to the Nightmare franchise. I've never listened to Bananarama ever. Or wait, is it Bananarama?
Who?
The song that the Kung Fu Kid is listening to when he's working out. It's not Bananarama. Maybe.
Is it the Tuesday chick that plays Brain Fart? Trisha Arquette's character.
No. It's
because she sings. She's on the soundtrack too.
The main girl who in Dream Master, her brother, when he dies, he's like listening.
Yeah, the karate guy. Yeah, that's like the worst scene in the whole movie. It's dumb.
He's just fighting and fighting.
The bed's cool. The bed kill's cool because he sees the naked chick, and then Freddy pops out. Yeah, that's badass.
I can't remember. She was a big supermodel, like a big swimsuit model in the 80s. The girl in the bed. Also, Linnea Quigley.
That scene, though.
Linnea Quigley, my Scream Queen.
Mm-hmm.
The love of my pubescent life. She is at the end of that movie when he opens the shirt, the soul that's naked, the boobs that you see underneath the skin, that's Linnea Quigley.
Shout out to boobs. Sorry, Mom. Earmuff it for me.
Dream Master is underrated. I love it. Nowhere near my top 10, but it is certainly has become a guilty pleasure of mine, or not so guilty because I don't care anymore.
It's just fun to watch. Yeah. I don't care what anybody thinks about my list. I like what I like. Damn it, like I said. Okay, you're number 8. My number 8 was Altered. That's why I went over here to get on my phone and change my notes.
Okay. My number 8, I think, was in my number 5 or top 5 last year.
Damn.
It is Feast.
Oh yeah, I remember you talking about that.
Yeah, Feast is.
Yeah, I think it was number 5.
Feast is a wild fucking movie. it was a contestant. I think it was the winning entry into one of the first two Project Greenlight.
Mm-hmm. That's
it
Ben
was
Affleck and Matt Damon, right?
Yep, Affleck and Matt Damon. It was
Nice.
that show. Yeah, it was a movie. Yeah, or filmmaking reality TV show that they
Yeah,
did on
HBO.
HBO way
Yeah,
back
yeah.
in the day. The first one was some weird Shia LaBeouf movie. The second one was Feast.
Imagine that.
And it took place in a bar, and they're bombarded with these weird, there's never any explanation in the movie, but there's these monsters that are just bombarding this bar.
Yeah.
Jason Mewes is in it. Henry Rollins is in it. It's nuts. It's absolutely nuts. But it was probably the first monster movie that I had seen in a long time, and I still enjoy watching it. Even the ridiculous sequels, I still enjoy watching it like over and over and over again. I just found it on Blu-ray. I was only able to find it on DVD like 2 years ago.
What is the cover art of that movie?
It's kind of indistinguishable from a couple of other movies because the monsters themselves, they have these big heads. They've got really long, like needle-like teeth, and that's the cover. It's kind of a close-up.
Yeah.
And it's of the monster with the needle teeth.
So, give or take, what year did this come out?
I'd probably say it was after 2005. Probably somewhere around 7, 8, 9, somewhere in there.
I wanted to say I remember it coming out when I worked at that video store, but
maybe as early as 2006.
Track.
Maybe as early as 2006.
I was already gone from there.
Yeah.
Where do I know? Because I mean, I've never seen it. I mean, I would probably like it because like it's one of those they have like the cameos throughout, so it makes it fun to watch. You know, and not saying that it's bad because I haven't seen it, so I don't know. But like that always like kind of cracks me up a little bit. Like, oh hey, look.
It kind of reinvigorated my faith in horror and monster horror.
Yeah,
because we were coming off of a very long stint of like all Japanese remakes or like classic black and white remakes.
Yeah, I just watched a video on the Japanese remake and J horror and all that, and I was like, yeah, I mean, I don't mess with The Ring. It's got ghosts. I don't do ghosts. If anybody's watching this, they don't know. Fuck a ghost, dude. Go. No, I don't. That's the one thing I still can't do.
I know we're pushing it. I know we're pushing it here, but we gotta take a small break.
Okay.
So I'm gonna play the piss break video, and we'll be back in about 2 minutes.
2 minutes, we'll be back.
As soon as I can find it. And we're back.
We're back. Did you miss us? Did you have anything else for 8?
No.
Okay.
Feast, watch it. Love it.
I will watch it.
And,
I said that last year, but this time I promise.
Spend the $5, join the Patreon, so that way you can join the Discord and you can tell me all about how much you hate that movie. Go ahead.
Hang on. I got a text from my mom. Hi there. Y'all are great. And it was 1968, the original movie for The Night of Living Dead. Thank you, Mom. Thank you for telling us we're great, too. We appreciate it.
We do appreciate it.
My number 8 is the one I changed because you said a certain person's name, and I felt like my list would be incomplete without this. Some probably don't consider this a horror movie, but it is technically in that genre. And that is They Live.
Ooh.
From John Carpenter, starring this man's enemy at WrestleMania 1 and Starrcade 1996, Roddy Piper. That's the last time I'm ever doing the Finks voice, by the way.
Please and thank you.
Yeah, dude. That for nothing else. I mean, obviously the music's awesome. John Carpenter's the man. The fight scene, dude. That is the greatest fight scene in movie history. And I'm not wrong. And you can tell me I'm wrong, but you're wrong.
No,
not you. I'm talking to.
Yeah.
The
100% the best
beautiful
fight scene
viewer. Hey, look, I'm in 3D now.
Just like Jason 3. Friday the 13th Part 3.
Which is actually probably, I think, maybe the best, but I like 8 better. But whatever. That's it, man. They Live. I mean, everybody's seen it. You can watch it now. I think it's on something. Maybe Tubi for free right now. I think. I just saw it the other night.
It's one of the ones where I was just like, there's no way I can't. Cannot live. I couldn't live with myself if my Blu-ray collection did not include They Live.
So good, dude.
Especially I think it was a Shout Factory.
Yeah.
Release that I have.
They've released it a couple of times on Blu-ray because I know they just did, I think, last year, and I wanted it because I liked the artwork. But might everybody kind of knows the sun. Yeah, I think the one that I wanted was the Steelbook, but the one everybody really knows is the poster with the glasses and the alien face guy in the shades. But yeah,
like that. I would usually not. I would not include this in a horror movie list myself.
Right.
If we did a sci-fi, I would probably include this.
Well, it was either this or Aliens because that was at number 8 originally, and that got bumped for this. So I'm saying it's horror,
which is fair because I would say
adjacent.
I would say Aliens is a action movie first.
Right.
But I would also say that this one isn't so much action, but I'd say They Live is more horror to me just based on the fact that
the way, premise,
Well, it's so aside from the alien part, so close to reality.
Yeah.
That's the most horrific part about the movie.
Yeah.
But again, music, the fight scene, the premise, the one-liners, we
had the clip. I'm here to kick ass and chew bubblegum, and I'm all out of bubblegum. That would go right here.
Although I will say, I remember when I was a kid watching this movie, probably maybe not for the first time, but close to the first time. The scene where he's on his ass in the I'm guessing is like a bodega or some kind of grocery store in New York City.
Oh yeah.
Or no, they're not in New York. But anyway, he's in the store. He's on his ass and he's looking at the glasses and he sees the alien talking into her watch. Like, I've got one that can see.
Yep.
The way that she says that scared the shit out of me.
It was spooky, man. Also, when he's like in like the kind of dystopian fucking homeless little area,
Yeah.
that made me scared of homeless people.
Which is
Not
funny
anymore.
because
We're good. We're good.
the homeless
Being
people,
are
the
cool.
homeless people are actually like some of like the nicest people in that whole movie.
But they were just weird because of like all the fires and shit. I don't know.
Yeah. I get it.
But yeah, I'm cool with homeless people now. I mean, I feel bad for them, obviously, but you know, we're cool as far as they don't scare me anymore. Well, some of them kind of do, but yeah, that's a. I mean, if you've never seen They Live, go fucking watch it.
Yeah.
Now.
Yeah, you really should.
I mean, finish this and then go watch it.
Yeah, if you haven't watched it, like it for real, as far as like social commentary and stuff like that, like this, that's one of the things that John Carpenter did better than anybody else, and that's why I say he was ahead of his time in everything, right? Like you had Texas Chainsaw Massacre that preceded Halloween, but nobody did the suspense of the slasher like John Carpenter did with Halloween. Right. And when it came to, like, as far as dystopian futures go, plenty of movies had preceded Escape from New York, but you got a good look.
Mm-hmm.
You got a good look at that situation. They Live. This guy understood while, like, during the Reagan era of the 80s, the consumerism, the rampant consumerism, and he's just like, these motherfuckers are just telling you to buy everything and you're doing it. So we put it in the movie.
Yeah.
John Carpenter was and is. He's a visionary, and I don't think sad thing is I don't think he'll get the proper credit that he is due until after he's no longer with us.
That's the way it usually goes.
It is. I mean, sad, but it's I think it's the truth. And
for the most part, I think everybody kind of knows that he's great, but unfortunately the masses don't know.
The proper people know. Everybody in the horror community knows that John Carpenter's a fucking genius.
Hell yeah.
The rest of the world,
of the
world.
63 here today. It's 51 now. They Live is like a Twilight Zone episode. Yeah. Absolutely. So. Yeah. I would say John Carpenter was probably inspired partly by Twilight Zone to make
likely. Which this might be the right time, at least within this episode of Who Popped. Now is the time to reveal. The next episode of the Horror Isle will be Halloween 3, which is not technically a John Carpenter movie, produced, yes. But there was there's a lot that went into Halloween 3. The reason that it was made was because it wasn't a Michael Myers movie.
Yeah.
Spoilers.
And I've talked about that ad nauseum. I hated this movie for forever.
Right.
And now I think it's fucking great, dude. It is so much fun just to sit there and watch it.
Right. And the whole purpose of the original idea of the Halloween franchise was to be an anthology series.
Yeah.
And the John Carpenter was very clearly inspired by the Twilight Zone, Outer Limits, and all of those.
Yeah,
and that's what he wanted to accomplish.
I just think, and I know now it's like in that niche where everybody's kind of like jumping on board, and I feel the same way because I didn't give it a second chance after I saw it when I was a teenager. I remember. The girl I was dating at the time, like I went to her house and her dad had rented it for us. And I was like, I kept looking and I was like, where the fuck's Michael Myers at? Like, I thought this was a Halloween movie. What the hell?
This was actually it's the reason that I'm covering it. It is surprisingly getting a lot more love.
Yeah.
These
Trick
days.
or Treat Studios, man. This year they're all Halloween 3. It's awesome. They got a ton of cool shit.
Yeah. So I guess it's the right time to release it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fantastic. John Carpenter he's my favorite filmmaker of all time.
I don't know if he's my favorite, but he's damn near. He's like a 1A, 1B. Yeah.
He's mine. He's at his movies are in the top 5.
This genre, no question.
Like just in general, like the other genres that his movies span, he's usually fuck top 5, top 3 easily.
Yeah,
for me, in every genre that he's ever made a movie in.
Yeah.
But yeah. So anyway, I guess are you done with They Live? Okay.
Yeah. Sorry, I just want people to watch it. No, you're good.
I rambled a bit.
Yeah, it worked out. I mean, that made sense. Put that
My
there.
number 7,
Thanks,
fallen
AJ.
from last year's list, is
Another
Return of the Living
fallen
Dead.
brother. Oh yeah, that was. I want to say that was what 3.
It could very well have been. It's still one of my favorite movies, and that's horror
Yeah.
being my favorite genre of movie. It happens, but my top 5 it's pretty important as far as like the most influential movies. But Return of the Living Dead, I mentioned it earlier when I was talking about Night of the Living Dead, is responsible for my initial fear of zombies. Just that the face melting scene in the barrel, highly effective. But then going back, the way that they lampooned the zombie film, I mean, it's perfect. It's got Linnea Quigley. As far as series go, at least with, we'll just say 1 and 2, because the rest of them kind of fall off.
Yeah.
Using the same 2 main characters in the first one as in the second one, or as far as returning actors. Linnea Quigley's graveyard dance was very influential in the way that I would go on to think in my adulthood.
Come on, man. My mom's watching.
I am being coy with my descriptions. I love Linnea
I know.
Quigley. Actually,
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I bought the the LP for her horror workout video, and it came with that 8x10. Like I love, yeah. I'll watch.
Is it signed?
Not really.
Oh.
It looks like it's signed, but you have to have an eye for printing in order to notice that it's printed.
Yeah.
But I'm
Facsimile.
just happy to have the LP in the full thing. I got to get
Yeah.
it framed and all that. But I love Linnea Quigley. I love everything about it. I love the punk rock aspect of it.
She's getting a lot of love.
She ought to get all the love. She's fantastic.
If it's love, she deserves it.
She does. It was, the music's great. The zombie makeups are, about what you'd expect from a, low to mid budget zombie movie of the time. Their emphasis on comedy really, it nails it home. And
Yeah.
the zombies being able to talk makes it that much better for, compared to at that point. I believe it was Night of the Living Dead. We had Dawn of the Dead. There's plenty of zombie movies coming out of Italy. It really was. It was a
bad.
lampoon. It was a lampoon of an industry within an industry.
And that's not just zombie Italian horror movies. That's, not even horror movies. Anything like that came out of Italy that was like supposed to be kind of a knockoff of something from here.
Yeah.
Nothing against the Italians, but like, holy shit, man. Like,
except for Fulci.
Some of those, 90% of those movies are god awful.
Yeah.
Almost unwatchable. Here we go. AJ's got another comment. Return is my top 3 zombie movies of all time. Okay, give us your top 3, AJ. Saw it as a kid and absolutely loved it from the beginning. Awesome. Yes. Yeah, give it. I want to see your top 3 zombie movies. Was that it for you for 7? Sorry.
Yes, and I would actually agree with AJ. Return is definitely 100% in my top 3 zombie movies of all time.
Coming up at my number 7 is what I think we were both talking about. I didn't realize I put it this low. But what we thought was the remake, technically a remake, it's at number 7. I didn't realize it was that low. Here we go. Before I go on that, Zombie 79, Return, and Day.
Solid,
yeah. My number 7, starring the great one, is Campbell, Evil Dead 2.
Oh wow,
Yeah.
that is not.
Super low. It's not what you thought?
No, when we were talking about technically remakes, that is not what I was thinking at
Yeah.
all.
Okay. And nothing against this. I love Bruce Campbell like a dad. He could be one of the reasons why me and my wife are married, because he basically blessed us in our relationship. Because the first movie we ever watched together was Army of Darkness on Blu-ray. That was the first Blu-ray experience she ever had. And his response on Twitter when I sent him and tagged him in it was, "Be gentle." I love the man, but and Evil Dead 2, I love it because there is that comedy aspect of it, because what's a Bruce Campbell movie without some camp?
Mm-hmm.
He is the king. I wish at some point he could have played Batman, because I think he would have been fucking fantastic at it.
He's got the
I love,
chin.
yeah, absolutely. I mean, the only person in B movie history that has a better chin than Bruce Campbell is Robert Zadar, and that's a throwback for the MST3K people in the chat. But yeah, man, I love it. It's just so wacky. But I prefer it honestly over the original. I know obviously there wouldn't be a 2 without 1. Or, yeah, but
I don't think you're even remotely alone in that. Like I would argue that most people, I'd probably say that more than 50%.
Yeah. Would take 2 over 1. Yeah. I mean, it's just they had a little bit more of a budget, but you know, it's like it's basically 1, but it's not 1.
The Evil Dead trilogy is a weird one.
But it's so good
because you could watch each and every one of them, and even though they're like, well, obviously Army is wildly different.
Yeah.
But you could watch 1, then you could watch 2. It recaps everything that happened in 1 with the subtraction of 3 people. Like there's in the first one, there's 5 people go to a cabin. The second one is just 2.
Yeah, because it's him, his girlfriend,
and then his
another
buddy,
couple.
his sister, and his buddy's girlfriend.
Yeah. Yep.
And then in the third, and then in the Army, they recap what happened in 2, using entirely different actors every time except for Bruce.
Yeah,
and Ted.
Yeah, and
Ted's the only other recurring.
Shout out to Ted Raimi, he's great. And he was great in Ash vs. Evil Dead, which is a great series. If I could put a series in here, that would be on here. I wish more people would have saw that. I mean, I think it's still on Netflix. I know it's on Hulu now. It's on Hulu now. That's right. I just saw it. Yeah, I saw it yesterday when I was sending you that.
Ash vs. Evil Dead is it is the continuation of the Evil Dead saga that needs to happen.
Yeah. And I wish it could have continued, but you know, Stars can kick a rock too.
We'll likely get into it more, even though I'm going to preface Evil Dead 2 is in my top 5.
I figured it would be. Yeah.
And that one can't move.
Yeah. And I not put my top 5 as like the ones I watched the most, then it would.
I will if Evil Dead 2 is if it is threatened in my top 5, I will lie, cheat, and steal to finagle the other 4 to make sure Evil Dead remains.
Yeah.
I saw that series backwards. I saw Army of Darkness. I'm pretty sure was on WPIX at some point when I was a kid. And then that same cool uncle that I had mentioned earlier, he showed me Evil Dead 2 because he said that the first one was too scary, which is hilarious in hindsight. And so I saw Evil Dead 2, and then way later I saw Evil Dead 1. Evil Dead 1 is a goddamn comedy just based on the production value of it. And I know what they did. I've listened to
Bruce has a unibrow. It's weird, man.
I read Bruce Campbell's autobiography first, and then I listened to the audiobook multiple times. And the best reason to listen to it is for a behind the scenes on the production of the Evil Dead movies.
He could
plus everything else.
read me the tag on a shirt of how to watch
Yeah,
it.
it's
And I would
fantastic.
fucking listen
It's
to
got a
it.
great voice.
Oh
It's
man, he's
wonderful.
phenomenal.
Yeah.
But yeah, Evil Dead 2. I'm the same way. I saw Army first. Actually, my mom's boyfriend, not boyfriend now, ex boyfriend. His name was Steve. He rented it, and I watched it, and I thought it was fucking hilarious. So, shout out to Steve. All right. Your number 6.
My number 6
and then
has
we'll
to
get out of here.
My number 6 has to get bumped completely off the list.
Should I go take mine while you're?
No.
Oh,
because
you
I know it's gonna. I know it's gonna replace it. Because apparently I listed 11 movies and then ordered them accordingly and forgot this one.
Oh shit, that's no good. Oh, by the way, while it's vamping here,
it's weird.
1973, The Exorcist scared the living crap out of kids in that era. It scared the shit out of everybody, Mom.
Yes, The Exorcist still scares the crap out of everybody.
I will not fucking watch it, dude. It's scary. It's that movie. I think it's the scariest movie of all time. Especially
with the addition of the spider walk down the stairs. When they added that back to the movie, out of this fucking out of the world. It's nuts.
Dude.
William Friedkin, another master of his craft.
And I hear the new one stinks.
So have I. Yeah. I heard that they,
which is a bummer because the trailer looked cool, but that's usually how they do movies.
Right?
They
put all the good shit
in the trailer, and then the rest of the hour and a half you're twiddling your thumbs. I almost said something else, but then I remembered who was watching.
So my number 6.
Mom's making me keep it clean.
Making a return. Making a return from the depths of what would be the honorable mentions. Next time I will have an honorable mention for you because my previous number 6 needs to be mentioned. My number 6 is Friday the 13th Part 4.
That's Lives? No.
I don't. No, that's 6.
That's 6.
The final chapter.
Final chapter. Okay.
I almost forgot the subtitle.
I'm like,
the final chapter, Friday the 13th Part 4, final chapter. It is to me
Feldman.
Yes.
Okay.
It is
wild, dude.
It is the last real Jason movie before they went off the rails. Because 5 is nuts. The idea of just having a guy pretend to be Jason the whole time is crazy. Yeah. It's a good movie now.
Yeah.
After the fact, Jason Lives, where he's finally actually a zombie. But the final chapter where you got Corey Feldman, you've got Crispin Glover. Being Crispin Glover, doing his weird fucking dance.
Hey man,
yeah,
get your freaking hands off her. That was a little Nicholson too in there.
Yeah, he's not that much different.
Yeah,
than George McFly, to be perfectly honest with you.
Yeah,
but it is. Yeah, it's that to me. It's the last. It's my favorite of the first. Before it went off the rails, Friday the 13th Part 1, great, cool, whatever. 2, 3 finally gets the hockey mask, but it's weird.
Potato sack, Jason. No thanks, man.
Yeah, same. You may have noticed if you've watched any of the Horror Isles that I like hockey masks.
Yeah,
it's a potato sack.
3 is when it starts to really.
Right. Yeah. And 3 is a fun movie, but it's not nearly as good to me.
No.
As 4.
No.
The final chapter.
It's just cool because you're like, yes. If you're watching later on when you're first discovering it, because obviously it's not like we went to the theater to see that movie.
No.
When we discover it and we're like, yeah, this is what we've been waiting for, him to put the freaking hockey mask on.
I think it came out the year that I was born too, so it was definitely not.
Maybe you were in the theater.
My old man, he liked horror movies.
Yeah.
Had his hand in scaring the shit out of me more than a couple of times, but Yeah, I don't think he was taking my mom to see Final Chapter in the theaters
Slasher movie.
while I was in the womb. But
Yeah.
I love that movie. The fact that it somehow almost didn't make the top 10 is criminal.
That's wild. I'm actually excited to talk about it also later on because I'm gonna have to rewatch it. But the fucking end when Corey Feldman has, he's all, it looks like he's got mange.
When he shaves his head all weird. Yeah.
And he's got the makeup on. He looks like
I'm
Uncle
you,
Fester
Jason.
if he had
I'm you.
pubes glued to his head. But yeah, shout out to Corey Feldman. I mean, he's
fucking A.
Now, but that's cool.
He's having a hard time lately.
Yeah. Hey, man.
He's had a hard time for the last 30 years.
You want to come on our fucking YouTube show? You're more than welcome, dude. I'd love to talk to Feldman. He's been some pretty
I'd love to talk to Feldman too, but we need like a tinfoil hat podcast for that.
But I mean, he's been some really important characters, throughout our lives, especially our childhoods,
Fucking A.
And he was the voice of
even the superficial
Donatello,
ones,
dude.
Even the superficial ones, like his character in Meatballs Part 4.
God, that movie will never die from this show.
No.
Meatballs 4 always comes
if that is all that I am able to do, if that is all I'm able to do,
Meatballs 4 shirt.
I should do that without infringing on any copyrights.
Yeah.
Although at this point,
Meatballs 4 inspired. I think at this point we could own Meatballs 4.
I was gonna say at this point with 600 subscribers, we could probably somehow manage to buy the rights to Meatballs 4. And we just set up a separate channel and play it 24/7.
Yeah. Yes. Oh, sorry. I gotta share this. Hang on.
You share it.
Love him in Lost Boys, my mom.
Mama Paula.
She knows.
Mama Paula's got good
Mom,
taste.
did you know that he was the voice of Donatello when I watched it every other day or every day on a loop? Oh shit.
Just in the first and the third one though.
Yeah.
They got some sad sack to do them.
Some sad sack.
For 2.
I want to just say going into this that this movie is a part of my favorite franchise.
Okay.
I love this movie. If it was the franchise, obviously it's different. I just want to say that because it's a big part of Hills and Quad's history because of a line that's uttered in it.
I think I know what you're going to say.
Halloween 2. Now, the reason why it's my third favorite Halloween movie is obviously the mask is a little off. It's a different person playing Michael. There's little things that just bother me. And I think, not having John Carpenter directing it and being a major part of it kind of poo-poos it a little bit. Not saying that it's not great because Jamie Lee Curtis is obviously in it. She's fantastic, but she's laid up in a fucking hospital bed the entire time. So it kind of makes it a fart. But the great Donald Pleasance is fantastic. And he utters a line that is synonymous with this show at this point. It was in every intro that we ever had up until probably 6 months ago. But when they're in that little room and, he's blinded and he's swinging the knife and Jamie Lee Curtis is cowering and it zooms in on Donald Pleasance's fucking face and he goes, "Get out now." Every time, if I even think about it, I want to piss my pants with laugh. Get out now. It is so fucking funny. And then he blows himself and Michael up because of course he does. Mm-hmm. Because this
was supposed to be the end.
This thing that is Michael Myers, because at this point he was just evil. He wasn't a fucking superhero or super villain or whatever. He was just a dude that was fucking evil. But so that was supposed to be the end of it. He comes out and he's burning alive, or I guess if he's even really alive. I like the concept that it was of being that same night continued, but obviously there are differences in it. Mainly being just the mask is like tighter, because 2 is Dick Warlock, right? I believe so. I believe I'm right. Somebody in the chat, if anybody, I think that's who it was. Because 1 is Nick Castle, obviously, who, I mean, you're never going to beat that. And then he finally gets to come back in the last few for a few scenes. It's like Peter Mayhew playing Chewbacca. He's only in it for, you blink and you miss it. But you do notice, I did notice that. And that he's 2, right?
Sorry, I'm working on it.
No, I know. AJ just said the weird mumble he does before. Yeah. Get out now.
I love that, like, when Donald Pleasence got older.
Sure.
When Donald Pleasence got older, he he started to overact a lot more.
Yeah.
Like I've stumbled on a lot of his earlier roles where he was way less Donald Pleasence. and I love every second of it.
Then
actually,
did you find it?
Yeah, Dick Warlock, number 2.
Yeah. All right. I was right.
So Halloween 2, I'm actually kind of surprised it made your top 10.
Really? I love it, dude.
I know you're a Halloween guy.
I just, when I think of Halloween, I think of this franchise. I think of that mask, that William Shatner.
For sure. And Halloween is,
I
for
think
all
of
intents
John
and purposes,
Carpenter's score, the theme.
The perfect
like I said
horror
last
movie.
week when you jumped on Heels and Quads with us, I was singing the theme in Walmart when I was pushing the cart through the aisles. I mean,
the music's fantastic. It's one of the reasons why I love Halloween 3.
Yeah. Oh God, that jingle, dude, is so catchy. AJ I follow AJ on Instagram with the show page at Heels and Quads, or you can go to our website. But he had it when they did that national, the little test or whatever last week.
Oh,
he did it with that. He had the thing there with the fucking Halloween 3 music playing. It was great, dude.
Shameless.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, shameless plug, AJ. Go follow the Horror Aisle at the Horror Aisle.
On
Twitter, because I want to follow you back. Because I would have loved to have seen that.
Oh man, well, it was Instagram. I don't mess with X / Twitter anymore. Right, it was. I don't know if AJ, do you have a Twitter? If you do,
follow at the Horror Aisle. I still fuck with that shithole. But Halloween 2.
Yeah,
Halloween 2 was played ad nauseum during the Halloween season on WPIX. But it was also played directly after Halloween 1 almost every time. For a very long while. He only has Instagram. He's a smart man. For a very long while, I thought Halloween 1 and 2 was all one movie. Like back before I actually started getting into titles and stuff like that. I thought Halloween 1 and 2.
You thought original it was one movie.
One movie, because they played them both back to back. So you'd get the the commercial breaks and all that stuff on TV.
Right.
So I thought that was it. It didn't end with Donald Pleasence shooting, or Loomis shooting Michael at the end of Halloween 1, and then that's the end of it. He shoots him
6 times.
And then and then it goes to the hospital. For a very long time, I thought that all took place in a single movie.
Yeah. It makes sense. I mean, especially like when you're not watching it looking for mess ups.
Sure.
They did a damn fine job. Um, but yeah, so
I mean, they got most everybody came back.
yeah,
All the
and they got
important
Jamie
people,
Lee
like when
Curtis. You
well,
know,
Jamie Lee Curtis, obviously, Donald Pleasance, obviously, Sheriff, what's his face,
yeah.
he's back in it. When they find Annie's body,
Mm-hmm.
it's the same actress that plays Annie,
Yeah,
or at the very least,
she looks exactly like
looks
her.
exactly the
Yeah,
same.
which was a common thing with 80. You know, in the 80s.
Yeah.
I mean, those girls kind of all look the
The
same, which so did the guys,
it
honestly.
in hindsight, the only problem that I have with 2 is the fact that 2 was the one that set the precedent that Laurie Strode was
His
Jason's
sister.
adopted sister, or a sister who was adopted by somebody else.
Yeah.
Um,
She wasn't
which
actually Laurie Strode. She was Laurie Myers.
right, which led to all of the subsequent after
Tomfoolery.
3 tomfoolery. Yeah,
Which, I mean,
all great
they're
movies.
fun. They're
All
fun
great
to
movies.
watch. And one of those might make my top 5.
I'm sure of it. I think
you know
I think
you know what it is.
I think what I thought you were going to say for your number 6 is probably going to wind up in your top 5, which is kind of hilarious to me.
You know it.
I think I do.
I mean, there's enough new people here now. I mean, I've talked about that. Levi and myself have done Halloween episode twice already.
Yeah.
We've talked about the Halloween series because there were so many new movies, we had to redo it. So next time I say we jump right in and do 5 through 1 because this one was a long-in. But hey, people hung out. Shout out to my mom for being the new Jamie of
young Jamie, young Paula. Thank you for chiming in with the facts,
pulling it up for us. Make sure to go to our website, tubespace.io/Heels and Quads Media. Sorry, I was trying to find it. Of course, the great fine folks, the owners of Jets Fan. That's why this happened. CopperJohnsBeard.com. Use coupon code Heels and Quads in all caps because we're professional businessmen over here at Heels and Quads Media and save 15%. I ran through the list of everything they have, plus more. Go there. It's your one-stop shop for all your beard keeping up, tidying up needs. I don't know where I was going with that. I'm starting to lose it.
I hear, and of course, I hear Monk Chudarsky's got some a thing or two to say about CopperJohnsBeard.com.
And then, of course, patreon.com/Heels and Quads. Sign up. The link is readily available on the website, which is in the description, I believe, already. I think I put it in there. But join us every week. And then Levi joins us at the end of the month. He's a busy boy. I have too much time on my hands at this point, but it's working. The channel's growing. You found us, you beautiful viewers, I love you so much. Patreon.com/Heels and Quads. Like we said earlier in the beginning of this broadcast, we have some new features for each tier. It's been revamped. Patreon is better than ever. In the dollar tier, you get access to the chat on Patreon. So you just download the Patreon app and there's a chat that's there for everybody. $3 tier, you start to get access to the Discord. And then the $5 tier, you get access to the hangouts, the monthly hangouts. The weekly you get in the $3 tier, the $5 the monthly, and everything else. And then the Discord, obviously, for the $5 tier is different than the $3 tier because that's where you get to see and hang out with all the OGs. So $5 tier is where it's at. But, if you want to help the channel grow, give what you can.
Indeed. Go to moodomerch.com for all your current merch needs. There's going to be a new design up specifically for the Halloween season and for the special release coming, I don't know when, but yeah.
Hopefully soon.
Yeah, hopefully soon.
Honestly, I just hope we have it done for Halloween. I kind of want to release it earlier than Halloween, but I also kind of want to save it for like midnight on Halloween.
Yeah,
but we'll
whatever.
see. It depends.
It
depends on how fast my other co-host gets stuff done, because I can't do what I want to do until he does what he does.
For sure.
And then I send it to you. But yeah, there's a teaser I put out on YouTube Shorts. You can find it. Just go to our main, click on the little icon and go to Shorts, and it's there. It should be the first video. But yeah, check it out. It's also on Instagram. It's also on TikTok. Find all of our social media at Heels and Quads, or you can just go to the website. It gives you links there straight to it. But yes. And then, of course, all of Muda stuff. I didn't know Horror Isle had a Twitter or an X, whatever you.
Oh shit! Yeah, brand new. The Horror Isle at the Horror Isle
on Twitter.
Indeed.
And yeah, of course, you can also watch this on Facebook. I prefer you watch it on YouTube, but you can also watch it on Facebook and Twitch as well, which I don't know how much longer we'll do that. We might find somewhere else to stream it. Maybe we'll start streaming it on the Horror Isle Twitter account, because Heels and Quads Twitter account is still active, but I have deleted the app and I don't want to use that app. It's so toxic. I hate that word, but it is. I spent so much time on that app.
Whatever.
Anyways,
it is what it is. But
it is.
Thank you for watching.
Yes.
We're good.
Yeah, hit them with the motto.
All right. Thank you all for watching, and don't forget, being a jive ass bitch is bad for your health. Peace.
Love you. Mean it. Bye.